you looks like you have a different screen in the back.
Oh,
Yeah.
ah,
Well, here we are. Here we are live, everybody. Yeah, thanks for sticking in there with us. We've had a
okay.
little bit of I'm just addressing the people online. Uh,
Certainly.
hey, everybody, this is Patrick from the Poison Pen Bookstore in Scottsdale, Arizona, and it is sorry for the for the delay here. We've been messing around with the phones and trying to get things set up, but I think we're in business now. So I'm going to be
Mhm.
talking with Jim on the phone. Hopefully you all can hear both of us. But yeah, Jim, it's always a treat and an honor to get to speak with you.
Well,
And
thank you.
you can hear me okay?
Yeah, same here.
Okay, perfect. And it's funny, we're gonna talk about the indomitable spirit and grit of the earlier generations that you write about, especially in this book. And you know, we'll talk a little bit about that, but we can't get our technology stuff straight, can we?
Uh-huh.
Um, but anyway, the brand new book, everybody, is called "Don't Forget Me, Little Bessie," and it is a masterpiece.
Well,
Wow.
thank you.
Yeah. Tell us just a little bit about the book and how you came to write it, and then we'll dive in.
Hmm. Well, thank you.
You're up, Jim. Can you tell us a little bit about the book, kind
Oh,
of,
oh,
and what inspired you to write it? And
oh, okay. I'm sorry. Uh, well, uh, it is a historical type of novel.
yeah,
Takes us back into history, and we begin our story with this young girl. She's 14 years old in the year 1915 or 1914, and the 20th century is coming to the world. That's leaving a swath that we still have not been able to actually, I think, accept. We are going to actually probably recreate it. And it scares the heck out of me.
yeah, absolutely. And the period that you're writing about, of course, encompasses, the First World War. And I learned a lot by reading your book, that I didn't know. And so much of World War One, as we learn, had to do with oil. Is that right?
Yeah, well, the entire world, it, it has been in a war uh, that started in 1915 and we're still at it. It's never been over. This is where we are now.
Right.
Who's the gentleman over there in Eastern Europe? If man, a president of the United States is talking about minerals now. This same fellow is drilling holes in the Arctic. It ensures that we will have we can't even guess it. There's nothing that comes before it. This isn't somebody just standing on a corner.
Yeah.
It, it's a fact. The worst uh, century in human history was the 14th century. The Black Plague, the heat, the starvation. That was the worst. It's worse now. The fact is, well, the heat is, and the diseases among animals. It's not somebody raining down bells and whatever. It's the truth.
Yeah. Well, animals play a big role in this new book.
Yeah, always, always.
Yeah. Um, I don't want to give, I don't want to give away any spoilers for people. So I have to be very careful about kind of what I say here with this book in particular. But when we meet your protagonist, the inimitable Bessie Holland, we meet her and she's 14 years old. Um, Tell us a little bit about Bessie and where she comes from.
Well, he lives in a little bitty town between Houston and San Antonio, or just placed along the edge of the uh, Mexico, and it's in that time wide open. The Texas is an enormous piece of geography, but it, it has a kind of, I think, a sense that all of us have a, somehow a, I would put it in, we have an endowment in some way or another. That part of it is this front here, this beautiful land, and it should be ours. And all of us, when we look at the cowboy, we feel Palestine, and uh, we want to step into that man's boot, that woman's uh, horseback, that just where freedom actually begins. Now, those things are not true, and they're not facts. These are thoughts that we have, that this was what the opposite finally, what we did to 19th century America was a long set of bred people, and these guys were not the criminals. The people, people in New York, these millionaires, they didn't have billionaires. They had millions and millions. And they stole the country. They got together with the um, railroad trains in that county, every other county or section rather, was given to uh, excuse me, this, the, I'm sorry, I've got. Can I get a glass of water,
Yeah,
please?
of course, of course.
Just a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry to keep you all waiting, folks. But we've had a few little technical glitches here, but no problem. No problem. Where are you, Jim? Are you seated? Because the folks that are watching online can't see. Oh, there you are.
I didn't know that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, all you guys.
there you go. Now we can see you and hear you a little bit better. So that's better.
Okay. All right. Uh, Manifest Destiny was a fraud. Keep it short. Guys, they just stole everything they could get their hands on.
Yeah,
What's got them now? It's worse.
yeah, yeah,
And they don't even have any class. You know, it's a disgrace. Criminals.
yeah, that's for sure.
They're ashamed of their own cloth. They're taking down the flag. They can't cut it anymore. It is. Let me just turn on the television and look at the people. Turn down the sound. Say, this is the people running the United States.
Yeah, I mean, the level of corruption is just
That's it.
surreal.
That's it.
Yeah. Hey Jim, would you mind kind of like turning towards the
Oh,
computer?
I'm sorry.
Because then we can't see you.
Oh, I'm
Although
sorry.
it
I
does
might
kind of
have to run. I can hear a
it's
rocket
it does give
headed
you kind of
toward
an
my
air of
roof.
it gives you an air of mystery though. You know, we
Yes.
see the back of your head. That's much better.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's, you know, reading the book, it seems like you can trace the history of the country, you know, from frontier days to modern to right up to today by looking at some of these great Texas families, you know, these great Texas oil families.
Yes. Go ahead.
No, would you say that's accurate?
Well, it's part of what was going on, and it isn't. This book is not meant to flagellate the oil company.
Right.
It's like, well, they might as well start whipping the entire British Empire. It's just, it's there. And what has occurred in 1915, this is P.E. Lawrence, uh, and he said it then. He said 1915, this grand war that is spread entirely over the globe is with us, and it has uh, one reason, and that is the uh, oil. And he said 100 years will be the same, that our people will do anything they can to have oil, oil, and oil. And he just thinks, oh, you know, but you know, his writing is some of the most brilliant ever written. The best prose. I've never read prose like P.E.R. My heaven, God. Just it's,
You know, that's a big lapse in my education. I have not never read the Seven Pillars of Wisdom. I need to I need to do it.
I bet not one of those people, our people in the White House who invaded uh, after the towers, not one of them ever read it.
Yeah. I have read
They couldn't have the enlightenment that it could give them.
yeah, I you know, I have read Oil by Upton Sinclair, which is a
Yeah,
terrific book.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So anyway, I mean, there's so much I want to ask you about with this book.
okay,
You know, you've been writing about this family, this extended family, the Holland clan,
yeah,
since way back in the beginning. I think Lay Down My Sword and Shield might
yeah,
be the first time they appear, but they also appear in this little gem called Two for Texas,
yeah,
which
yeah,
appeared as a paperback original back in
yeah.
the early 80s. So
Mm-hmm,
before Dave Robichaux. And
mm-hmm.
but then I believe you kind of picked up the story, if memory serves, with Cimarron Rose, with the
Okay,
Holland clan,
yeah,
and then
it's a
yeah,
big
no, and then Heartwood, and then so many other great books.
yeah,
Um,
rain god.
Rain Gods, one of my favorites, which is a more modern one, which is House of the Rising Sun,
Yeah, that's
which
a
is
very
pretty
good.
closely allied in time or aligned in time with this new book. Um,
Yeah,
but let's talk a little bit about, I was trying in my mind to get the Holland family tree together in my mind. And so if I get this right, Sam Morgan Holland,
yeah.
he was Hackberry's father. Is that right?
Uh, Um, oh, no, not really. Yes and no. Um, Sam Morgan Holland was, in fact, Sam Morgan Holland, my great grandfather, and he was a drunkard, a gunman, killed 9 men in gunfights, and a bad suspicion. And my grandmother was Alifair Holland. And I got a little tyke who's
Mhm.
writing books these days. That is her name from uh, Alifair. And Alifair in the story, this story, Filthy, uh, he dies uh, in birth and it wrecks, the family. But that was my grandfather. He died in Burton, and little Alifair, and actually, his the characters are real of the great, and of course, in art, in novels, certainly, the characters have a way of walking, maybe down another road, and they don't let writers run their lives. Every writer knows that. You don't start throwing your characters around because they'll hit you in the head. But my family are the Holland, and they were hit on the wheels because extraordinary people. And it sounds like a really bloody, terrible thing. Uh, the 9 shootings, but that was during uh, the period between 65 and the time of the census. It was mostly an extension of the Civil War.
Mm.
It had many factors, as the Civil War did.
Yeah,
They were good people. And I was always proud of my family. There were people who were very poor and just absolutely uh, just, they just sank their feet in concrete. They just never, they will never, I'll never run. I'll never run. I can hear that. Both of my grandfathers were born in 1866. 66,
wow.
just right around the corner from those people. And the story about uh, uh, who Davy Crockett going down
Mm.
to the Alamo, and that's a true story. He parked himself right outside of Yoakum, Texas, just not far from San Antonio. But he knew, and he and his 22 men, that they would never come out of those walls. Once they went up through those walls and the gates, those fortifications dropped behind them, they would die in there. And they fought for 13 days. They all died to the last man, and they died 188 men, and some of them were just boys. And they left 1,500 Mexican soldiers. And no matter what anyone said, that's gut. Tell me you didn't just chills all over you.
Yeah.
13 days, 118, the, I mean, 100,
88.
88, that was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Against 4,000 men, essentially, right?
Yeah, and with cannon.
Yeah.
And Santa Ana was a horrible man. Just
Mm.
yesterday, his men hated him. He was just awful. He was an addict. Did you know that? He
Santa Ana?
Yeah, he was afraid to cross water, and he kept a little ball of opium in his jaw because he was so frightened to cross the river. And
Is that
this
right?
is, yeah, and he sent all
Wow.
those men to their death. You know, just all dictators who were cut out of the same cloth.
So when we meet young Bessie, she's, I believe, 14 years old.
That's
And
correct.
you know, I don't want to compare it with another writer or another book, but I couldn't help but think a little bit of Charles Portis's wonderful novel, True Grit.
Uh-huh.
and his
Yeah.
character, uh, a similar type of character in some ways, really. Um, but she has how could I say it? She can see beyond the veil. Um,
Yeah. Hmm.
and she has a very special companion throughout this book named Mr. Slick.
Yeah.
Uh, what can you tell us about this guy?
Well, we're never quite sure what he is, but he shows up in the first pages, and Bessie, is plowing with a single plow or horse, uh, and he is daydreaming, and this fellow steps out of the trees and it starts saying, not really saying it, but obviously kind of this Weisenheimer.
Yeah,
It just
yeah,
can't wait to get his face flat. And he's fooling with the strong person. But uh, she evidently sees goat hair on his ankles.
right.
And she said she doesn't talk to people who have goats for, goats for feet. Their feet for goats. But anyway, uh, the character they always find is an interesting person or spirit, for one reason that he can recognize goodness and courage in a
Mm,
child that other people cannot see. Because Bessie has a hard time in life. And my mother was had a horrible life in this job, and she never would tell me where she went. I know she went from Texas somewhere. I mean, uh, she lived with her brother up in Colorado, and there were other places, and one was Kentucky, that she would not get change her ways, and she would never tell me where she spent her childhood. And
mm,
he died out with her at the hospital, and she was just short of 110. And her
wow.
mind is completely clear. It was always the last thing she said to me was, Jimmy, I walked into the room and I been over this, I gotten off the plane and went like the hospital there in Houston, and I walked to her deathbed, and I bent over her and her eyes opened, and she said, Jimmy. And I said, I put my hand on her head. I said, yes, I'm here. I said, don't worry about them. And then she said, pray for him and close your eye. And I never opened for 8 days. At 8 days, she died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, can you swing back towards the camera again or towards the computer?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you guys. I mean, I'm like, Jay, look, I give you permission if I come down there and you punch me in the face.
No, 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 not at
Okay.
all. Not at all. It just it helps them to hear you better and
Yeah.
yeah. And it's funny when you move slightly, I can see a little sliver of that guitar appear and then
Jake,
and then
can
it
I show it to
disappears.
you?
Yeah, grab it.
Oh, hey, I'm going to show you I got my first guitar in 1961, and then 4 years later, I bought this one. This one was in Kentucky, and boy, oh boy, and I bought it for $150, and that's a given. Man, it's only the angels make Gibson guitars. And I've
I
got
didn't I didn't
three
know
of
you
them
were
up
let
here on the three of them. I've got a 200 um for it's not funny. Uh, I, I 200 Gibson. Everybody who is great has one of these. Body does. Waylon Jennings, any room. Anyone who is worth the salt plays one of these good dogs. And you know this,
Where are you, Jim? We can't
every,
see you.
every fun,
We can't see you.
I'm
Where
going
are
to
you?
show it to you. I'm going to show
Okay.
it to you. Look
Okay.
at this. Any room really looks great with it. You know, you can get all this off of the or internet. This is a beautiful thing. This is one of the last ones Gibson made. And,
Wow.
you know, it's just, oh, my heavens, yeah.
Is
It,
that a
well, it took
JCM?
me something like 60 years to fix a wildwood flower, but I did it. Hang on. There it is. Oh, boy. That's it. Tell me you beat that. And I have others. I got my heavens, he lives. Oh, oh, you know, I knew a convict, who was in Andover Penitentiary who did time with red belt. And I knew some of the
Really?
most famous positions, I knew some of the most famous, uh, here, I'm getting the camera. Uh, I knew some of the most uh, famous musicians in Southern folk music, and you know what they call R&B a few years ago.
Mhm.
And Jimmy Reed, the hippie dippy from Mississippi, Mr. Jimmy Reed. Golly. Ah,
Oh yeah.
I saw Smiley Lewis, and I saw Golly. These were all black people. Uh, in Houston, I saw Johnny Ace.
Did you really?
Oh, it was people that were way back there, but
Yeah.
B.B. King. I saw B.B. King play. White people then had to sit up in the balcony. What a strange, people we are. We punished ourselves to put ourselves up in the balcony, and
Yeah.
it's steaming. Just really it's about 7,000, 8,000 people up in the balcony. But we know how to really punish the black people. We're sweating 200 degrees. That's
You
pretty
know,
hard.
I always was wondering, your really early book, was it Half of Paradise that dealt with the musician character? It was one of the first three books. I just can't remember which one that dealt with a musician. Um,
Johnny Ace, the night. Oh, it was a short story or a novella. The night Johnny Ace died. It
what
was in the collection Jesus Out to Sea.
I see.
That's one of my best, I think, short collection of short writing.
But wasn't Half of Paradise about a musician?
Who? I'm sorry.
Half of Paradise, your first novel?
Yeah, Half of Paradise. Right, that was my first novel, and I finished it when I was 23 years old, and
Wow.
it was published, and I got a 6-column uh, New York Times uh, spread, and the best things that ever was said about my work were in that first beautiful essay, and I thought I was on my way. Boy, do I have some things to learn.
Well, you had two more novels and
I did,
fairly, yeah,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
to the bright and shining sun,
yeah, yeah.
and right, and then lay down my sword and shield, and then it was quite a stretch, right, for you
13 and a half years before I was in uh, hardback uh, life.
with the Lost Get Back
Print.
Boogie.
It, in print. For 13 and a half years, and I wasn't goofing around. I was working. I really worked, and I did it for 13 and a half years, and I did it, and I did it, and I did it. And I met Philip Piston, and he was driving a cab in New York, and he ran a cab at night, and he worked in the daytime, and he lived in Hell's Kitchen, and that's where he worked. And he was also a boxer. And Andre Debussy, my first cousin, Andre introduced me to Philip, and we went to work, and he uh, he worked on that book. I mean, taking it to people in New York for 9 years, and it was rejected 111 times.
Wow.
It's all over New York. That's an actual story anyone will tell you about 111 times. And when my manuscript finally was falling to pieces, that's when I met Philip, and Philip went to work. But the manuscript was battered. They threw it back at me with I don't know, a launcher. It was been stabbed by uh, golly, ballpoint pens and whiskey rings in the margins. And can I say a bad word? And I don't use profanity. I do not use. My father never used a profane word. That's a fact in his whole life.
Really?
Anyway, but I can quote this from my book. Okay, this guy, this fellow who was not living on. I'm not mad at it. But anyway, he wrote me back, and he said, I slugged on, no, I slugged on with these two truck ups. Okay, these F ups. He said to the weary end, and then he really got bad. You know, but it made people mad. And so finally, I took out, I think it was either 40 or 60 pages, but that was easy to do. And Philip sold it, Philip took it to the Louisiana State University Press. And of course, that Robert Penn Warren started that that press.
Right.
And I started with those guys, and it was they gave it a they uh, oh they gave it a publisher's your Pulitzer
Mm.
win it, but I was really proud. I still am, and I will always love LSU Press. They're the best people in the world. It's this wonderful thing about Southerners. They've got class. They got class. When they have class, they got class.
And
Yeah,
they also did your short story collection, The Convict, right?
yeah, yeah. That's right. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
That's a real tough book to find, the original edition of The Convict.
Yeah,
Very difficult to find.
yeah. This is 20, 30 years ago. It was selling for $4,000.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Did you,
in good shape.
did you
But they
keep
were
some?
only, yeah. I think I gave one to each of our children. Yeah,
And of course, then, to go down memory lane, 1987, we're off to the races with the Neon Rain.
yeah, that's
And
it. That
yeah,
made it.
and was the character of Dave Robichaux, I know we're kind of digressing from this book, and Erin has me on a tight leash because I think we went an hour and 45 minutes last time, and I promised her I wouldn't do it this time. But we started late, so what the hell? The origins of Dave Robichaux, were some of those to be found in the Lost Get Back Boogie? Was there almost an earlier iteration of Dave Robichaux in that book?
Well, I would, I don't know, yeah, that could, you could say that. But it's the concept that I shifted over to a voice of a man who knows that the world is a good place if he honors it, and he steps into the world of crime and finds himself again and again a Christ figure. And that's what really opened the door to my heart. That was it. I opened the door. That's it. And that's it. And you know it. You get the light. Get the light. There's light shine. That's, you know, it's when you get the star and the crown. You know it. You know it, that no one can get in your life. Nothing in your world can stop you from what you're going to do. And you don't care for the people don't like your work. Just give them the Italian salute. Just,
Hmm.
just, hey, hello, are you still there?
I'm still here. Can you hear
I'm
me?
sorry. Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Well, Hackberry Holland, to kind of jump back into the new book.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Hello? Hi?
Hello,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
you can hear me?
You barely.
I wonder if you put me
Yeah,
on.
this is good. Good now.
This is
Good.
good. Okay. Now let's
Okay.
just kind of jump back to the new book. And, Hackberry Holland seems to kind of embody a lot of those same virtues, um, in the book. He's not a perfect man, but he has that the family weakness, of alcohol.
Yeah.
That plays a big role in this book, in a way,
Well, on all of my books, just
for
everywhere,
sure.
48 of them, it's John Walker and all these guys. Every one of them.
John Barleycorn.
Yeah.
But you say in this new book, I like the way you put it. You say that he's a good man inside a ferocious body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But
go ahead.
no, I was just going to add, he was a former lawman, a Texas Ranger. And then in one place, you also say that Hack's greatest weakness was his inability to accept the passage of time. He was a man whose heart was in an earlier era.
Yeah. And I think that was the way that many people uh, who lived in the 19th century and realized that the America that they fell in love with is gone, like Cimarron Road. It's one of my favorite stories. And if I had to go over again, if someone would say, give you a chance to go to another place, I would say, how about just starting about 1811 or so? I think it'd be great. Oh, geez. Oh, my heavens. Good heavens. Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Now,
yes. I ache when I think of that. Oh, man,
1811.
you mentioned it being in the news, going down the Mississippi and out to the west. And, oh, Lordy. And to be uh, a place where there are no rules, just nothing. It's just you just make a oh uh, look my father asked my father was something of a historian, but actually he was a petroleum. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Anyway, uh, he was a very intelligent man, and he was he was a chemist, and he was well, he was an oil man and all of and but he despised it. He would come home, work, and it was white collar, but he would wash his hands, scrub them. He couldn't stand the culture that
Mm,
father was feeling. He believed the man in the street with the man in the gutters. And he would never use bad language. He never criticized anyone. He spoke 5 languages. And, and he had these great things. He goes to say, Jim, if you pass, if people all are on the same side and everyone agrees on it, run. And so I was asking, and I'm about 14, and I was worrying about uh, Christianity and not just this good and evil, all the things you go through during puberty. And so I asked him, what about God? And he said, oh, Jim, he said, you don't have to worry about much. He said, people will tell you what God is and what God is not. And he said, don't be uh, thinking about that. He said, there are only 2 things that you have to keep in mind. And he said, at first, he is a gentleman. No, at first, he has a sense of humor. And secondly, he has he is young, and as such, he is a man of honor, and he will always keep his word. And after that, you don't have to worry about anything. That's that's a mouthful of food. But that's what he said. That he said he was a gentleman. That was it. He was a gentleman. He was kind. He was brave. That's when we talk about the face of God. That's what it is. That's what it is, brother. That's what it is. And it's a great line. That's it. Don't put down your sword and your shield. Bring it up if you have to. Be safe. Be the person that my old man would be like. He died. He was on the job, but I took these men, the oil man, he took him back home, and he was going home, and he was hit by a truck. And
Oh dear.
it was a big loss.
Was the character?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been there all my life. My father was in there, and my mother, and I had that great gift. I was his only child, and it's a great gift. When your parents are right. If you can turn around and think, what do my parents do? And just say, oh, yeah, that's right. That's the thing to do. Just like when people put stickers on it. What did God do? It's not a bad thing.
Did either of your parents live long
Yeah,
enough
I'm
to?
sorry. I keep recording.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Did either of your parents live long enough to see your literary success?
Pardon?
Did your parents live long enough to see your literary success?
My dad did because he died when I was 18.
Okay.
I had no idea. I wanted to say I had a short story published in my first year of college in Lafayette, and but my mother did though. She was very happy and yeah. But my father wrote beautiful prose. Yeah, it was always the same subject: the war between the states.
Interesting. There's a character in the new book that I wanted to ask you about, which is Mr. Cohen, who's a very interesting character, the geologist by trade. Does he have some of your father's character?
Which book is that?
The new book, Mr. Cohen, the one who joins forces with Bessie to start the Holland Oil Company. You know?
Oh yeah, that he's an aviator.
Yes,
Oh
exactly.
yeah, he's burned because and he was throwing pamphlets and
Right.
he was crate. He says, I think he says his crate burned. Yeah. Uh, he's a largely fiction. He's part of like my father. Yeah.
Yeah. He's has a bit of the mystic in him.
Yeah, he is in the oil business, and that's where my father was. And also, I worked a little bit. Okay, here's my family and my work of record. Uh, I was let's see, a pipeliner, and let's see, all over Texas, and he's I was in seismograph drilling in the in 15 that was a 10 uh, days on, 5 days off in the
Hmm.
on a quarter boat. And I was a landman, the real deal, when I was 20 years old. And no, it's the 20, 19 and 20, and I was a good one. And my mother worked 40 years for a driller, a man who was he was really good one. He was a aviator on a uh, flat top, and he was shot to pieces. But anyway, those were the people that I knew. And the life they live, the bravery of the people's loyalty, boy, it's just, I mean, if you want to see tough people, this is those guys. And I never saw, I mean, I was on a boat that, a drill boat, and uh, we had this cans that, it was, that had caps in them, this, it was really hot stuff. And I just, kid, and I had a box of these prizes, and they're very, very sensitive. And a big box of them, I threw them over the gunwale off of a loading boat, threw them over the gunwale on the drill, and landed on the deck. And there were 160 cans of dynamite. They were cans. They looked just like a beer can, but they threw one into each other, and you build 18 of those. A big, and then they go down into the hole. That shooter looked at me. His face went white. I said, "What's wrong, Shorty?" He said, "Boy, what you always just did." Those guys, I would say they would kill me, but they couldn't, because none of us would have been blown off the deck. But they didn't make a shot. I never saw anything like it. I never saw one of them get afraid about anything. And a lot of them were, they've been overseas in the World War II and in Korea, but I always admired it. I just really, you have to admire those guys. The guys up top side, uh, people like, politicians, you know,
Right.
uh, but these guys are not, and they shouldn't be, uh, oh, denigrated, because they're not. They're brave men and lazy. It's a great way of life. It's totally irresponsible. These pipeliners, those are the cut up.
Yeah. Well, Jim, I promised Aaron I would keep this on time, but let's just before we sign off, I mean, in the book, everybody, you're in for a real treat. We haven't gone into so much of it, but we meet a young Bugsy Siegel in this book. We meet Meyer Lansky. There's a whole crew of people that we meet, and also we haven't talked about Ms. Ida Banks, who is a major character in the book. Um, what can you say quickly about her?
Okay, I'm getting an echo here. So you're talking about, I couldn't, I was getting to you.
Okay,
So,
let me try this. How about Ms.
oh,
Ida Banks?
but-
Ms. Ida Banks, the character in the new book, Ms.
okay,
Banks.
well, the lady that teaches,
Yeah,
okay, yes, she's a wonderful character. And of course, much of the book reflects not the past, but it's, it's, it's the present. It's the very things that are going on. It's worse. It's the they're cruelty to people because of their sexuality. Sexuality. Uh, or it's this this pious or it's just sticking in the business. I have a preacher these priests that I really admire. He is his congregation there. And he said, I just want to get it here, out here. This is what I feel. You cannot be a Christian and support a certain politician in Washington. And if you do, you're not going to be on my letter. I know this, I never hurt you, never take you to the side. In my heart, I will feel sorry for you and pray for you, that I will never in my heart accept a critic that if you are doing the work of Jesus Christ. He said, you can't do it. And that's it. And this boy, this now, I, but this guy is got of a big glass ball. You can see this. It's the Irish over in Butte, Montana.
yeah.
I, I had somebody when someone said the Irish is just oh, a pagan race with a
A pagan race, is that what you said?
sorry. Well, my family came from Dublin, so I say all I know.
Yeah. That's the
But
Burke
that's
side.
it. That is it. We are the Shanty Irish.
Yeah. There's a great book by Jim Tully called Shanty Irish. Wonderful
Yeah.
book. Yeah. Well, listen, Jim, it's been a real treat to talk with you. Technical difficulties aside, I always look forward to it. And this is the brand new book, Don't Forget Me, Little Bessie. And we do have signed copies of it here at the Poison Pen. And maybe one day I'm going to lure Jim back to Arizona
Well,
to,
yeah, my grandson lives there. His name is James Lee Burke. He lives right
right,
there, not too far. In fact, he just right as, as, as
right
close
up the
to
road.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'd
Yeah,
be wonderful to have you out here again.
thank you. And let's tell people I'm sorry, I probably the, had to cancel my face. Maybe that was improved.
That's okay. That's okay. That's fine. Well, Jim, I'll give you a call and we'll catch up.
Okay.
But it's great to see you, and
Yeah.
congratulations on another, I don't know how you do it, another wonderful book.
Well, thank you. And I've got another Robichaux book already.
Oh,
It's already in the can. And
really?
yeah. And I've got one after that that's in the making.
A Robichaux novel or
Yeah.
something else?
Yeah, I have to go to work otherwise.
Idle hands and so forth. Yeah. All right, sir.
Okay.
take care.
Say
Have a
hello
great
to
night.
all the gang.
I will. And
Okay,
thanks
partner.
everybody for tuning in. All right.
You
Bye-bye.
call anytime, okay?
I'll give you a ring.
Okay, partner.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.